switch over here. All right. So I'm using Easy Mix 2 in standalone mode, which is this little guy right here. Pretty much use all the Metal Guitar Gods 3 sounds. This was a really tricky setup here. And you know what? I want to right now just recommend this thing immediately from what I've seen. For free. This is a free version of it. XSplit. I was using Open Broadcast software, which is a fucking pile of shit. That thing was just it crashed constantly. It did not like the audio input that I was giving it. It acted like almost like the timing was off, and the setting on my sound card, which is like, you know, popping and clicking. When I switched to this, I found that the problem, the thing about this program is that you plug your guitar into your sound card. That's your input into the, you know, and it's really, I thought that maybe my computer wouldn't be fast enough or something to play it, but it's perfect. It's just like an amp. But then you get the sound of the dry guitar, because I only have 2 inputs. This thing will only take your front inputs, so you're pretty much stuck running in mono. I don't even know if you had a better card or a higher card with more inputs that it would really make a difference. Like, you might be able to plug your guitar in and then, you know, run your mixer into, you know, and then go stereo. Pretty good chance, but it doesn't really matter because I've found that the mono sound is pretty solid. You know, it's not bad. So these are both Andy James sounds that he put up on this thing, which I found his sounds are pretty much the best on here. Some of the Adam D sounds are pretty good, but this clean sound is... One more thing about this is what's so cool. This solved the problem, was the audio settings on this. You can do a thing here. You got to have mono, right? So they'll let you copy the left channel to the right channel, so that eliminates the dry guitar track. So now I can actually, because I was looking for an outboard unit to just have to plug in to do this. I was thinking, but all the outboard units I've got kind of suck. I got a Vox Valvetronics thing that's an older model. It just, the distortion on it is nothing but fizz. The effects are excellent. All the phaser, like if you're just running it, you know, without the amp simulation and just running the effects, the reverb, everything else on it is just excellent. But the amp simulation is some pretty old shit, probably from like 2005 or something. Which I was just, you know, planning on plugging it into an amp back then. So, okay. But yeah, that took care of the problem. And so this here is, there's quite a few on here that are, you know, combinations of 2 amps. So you've got your 5150. Pretty sure it's like a 5150 Marshall combo, 51 UK. We'll go ahead and cut the mic so you don't hear the clicking. Try and cycle through a few of them here. Oh, that sounds like fucking shit to me. This is pretty cool. This definitely sounds like some of the clean sounds on multiple KSE records right here. Tremolo. So there's he's got quite a few different versions of the 5150 here. To me, at least on this, I mean, you know, if somebody likes has a 5150 or a 6505 and, you know, likes the way it sounds mic'd up and everything, great, you know. I've got what is mine, a 2005 dual rectifier, kind of on the fence if I want to just get away from tube amps altogether and just go maybe with like an Axe Effects or you know, maybe the cheaper one, man, not the $2,500 one. Probably the AX8, you know, if I could ever get one, because there's a fucking waiting list for them. But that's about the only one I could possibly afford if I sold a bunch of shit. Let's see here. But anyway, a few different versions here. It's almost a little too much gain, huh? See, there you got on the number 2 there, the guitar input. And then on number 1, one mono channel receiving what this thing's putting out. Some old fucking downset. I haven't played that shit in years. Don't really do much for me, huh? Now these black stars here, this is another one of my favorite on here. All of his sounds are pretty good. Most of them, well, probably 80% of them. There's some shitty ones, but not too bad. Both of those are pretty solid. Yep. One thing about these, this is how it comes preset. You gotta adjust the, you know, a lot of these I wasn't really thrilled with. Way too much. one sound. This definitely has a little, maybe a little different character. Some of these other ones, the character almost seems kind of similar, even though they're supposed to be different amps. Definitely found with this Marshall one, using it as a plug-in, recording some stuff, that it definitely cut pretty good. You know, some of the other ones are a little too scooped. Not really gonna. We'll go through maybe one or two of these. Let's see. His rhythm sounds on here, I definitely wasn't too thrilled by. Some of his rhythm sounds are, but the Andy James ones are way better. I'll run through a couple of those. Weird fucking playing that in drop tuning. One thing about the bass sounds, Easy Mix 1 and 2 have some pretty good bass sounds in them, that both overdriven and clean bass sounds. I haven't really felt compelled to you know, use any of the bass sounds that Ola or Keith programmed into this. Let's see here. that's almost fucking identical to that other one. Yeah, that sounds almost there's another 80s thrash band. So I guess, you know, we need one patch called 80s thrash and then another called Exodus. Sounds fucking identical. Hold on. Maybe a little bit. The EQ might be a little different on it, but not by much. This is a pretty, you know, guess it's a Friedman. Don't know which. You really don't know which models. I actually tried to ask Andy James which Black Star model that was supposed to be, and he started talking to me, and then he didn't. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try again. I like this one here. I've got it in my favorites. It does cut pretty good for doing cover songs. It's kind of, I don't really care for it all that much by itself, but I think, yeah, this is how I saved it. Just got a little reverb in it, or reverb, as they would say. It's a little bit too wet, full of effects for me, but in a, you know, in a mix it doesn't sound too bad. Sounds like almost like his tone on that solo. I'm gonna cover that song eventually one of these days, because that's one of my favorites that they ever did. So this is basically a little noodling video. Just hopefully everything's set up right on this thing now, and I can kind of stream a little bit when I'm trying to come up with some stuff, trying to get motivated. Probably put it back on. I don't know. I like. It's kind of my favorite is probably a cross between this one and the Black Star. And yeah, it's like those are. You can't really. I don't know if you can really select what order you want your favorites in, but they're right next to each other. Another nifty little feature there, you can mute the input. Makes it completely silent. So I'm hoping that when I play this back, it's going to sound good, but I think it's going to finally, because like I said, all the outboard stuff I got, unless I'm going to mic this little amp. I got a little amp here. It doesn't sound too bad, but I don't really want to mic an amp to do this. I'd rather just be able to plug the guitar in the fucking computer and be done with it. Hey, lazy's lazy. Guitar is ESP LTD, of course. It's the EC-407. It is an absolute motherfucking beast. Weighs like 65 pounds. You know, I noticed on some of these models they have the access heel here, but this doesn't, which I grew up on a Les Paul that doesn't have an access heel, so I don't know. I'm just accustomed to having the heel right there on the higher frets. But had a guy in San Diego do fretwork on this guitar when I first got it. Shop's called the Repair Zone. Fretwork turned out absolute perfectly on this guitar. You know. But anyway, that was my little noodling sound test and test, of course, you know, the video quality, trying to this little webcam here, and that's it. So I'll probably try and stream you know, and you know, electronic drums, this program here. Let's see real quick. Gotta have it. Well, not Amazon Music, but they look so similar. I should probably gotta have this bad boy here. I like this one. Wait. This, I don't think this is. I think I want a different one. Try a different one here. Maybe this is the one I'm looking for, because I've got truth drums on this. Yeah, that's the truth kick. Truth toms and DW toms. I'll play a beat for a second. Now, funny thing, watch this. That's just one MIDI I did for a song that I've noticed watching other people using this program. They always use center hits. They always use center hits on their snare drum, but you can use a rim shot, which I did, if you want the snare to pop a little more, which the way I looked at it is between myself and other drummers that growing up, you know, the snare drum was always turned up so where the rim was, you know, not down but rather up, because I did rim shots, you know, just to make the snare louder and to hopefully cut more. Well, there's your center hit. But what is it? Tune track the midis like these things. You know, say we do. That was my MIDI that I just played that I actually tracked myself. Working on some other stuff. You can hear those are all rim shots. But if we go to, let's say for example, the Dirk Verburen midis, or any of the other ones really, not just Dirk's, but I like a lot of his stuff and plan on using it. Let's see this one here. Nothing has rim shots. It'll all be center hits, which is cool. Because you could always edit play style on it. Put rim shots in it. One thing I found is the kick drum. This Truth kick drum has got enough click to it. It's got enough highs. It still sounds pretty big and punchy, but especially with low tune guitars like playing in you know, this 8-string, you find that the guitar, especially you got the bass tune an octave lower than that, which I mean I don't tune a bass any lower than low B, but you know, it's fighting with the low frequencies in the kick drum, so your kick drum is getting covered up. This is definitely the one, like, you know, gets it done. But so there's that. But anyway, hey, right on. Get back in the swing of working on stuff, and maybe stream a little of it now that I got this set up right. So, peace.